That sounds crispy. That sounds crispy.
Welcome to the Hub, where we discuss health, finances, community, education, and politics. Hey guys, it's the Hub tonight. Meet us the first Friday of the month as we have new guests and topics that will not only inspire but educate as well. The Hub is where ministry and community connects. My name is B. Smith tonight, and I will be your host. We have a fantastic segment planned for you all tonight, and we have a very special guest who is a breast cancer survivor, educator, and a passionate advocate, and she's resilient about hope and change. I just got a couple facts for you guys and some statistics I looked up regarding breast cancer. One of the things that I found out is about 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. It was estimated in 2000 and 2023 that 297,790 new cases of cancer would be diagnosed in women. Also, while breast cancer is predominantly seen in women, approximately 1 in 833 men will also be diagnosed with it. So tonight I'm going to introduce you to our guest. It's none other Dr. Cicely Roach. She is a 36-year-old breast cancer survivor. Through her journey, she has emerged stronger, using her journey to empower others through awareness, education, and encouragement. She shares her story of survival, strength, perseverance, reminding others that faith in God and courage can light the way even in the darkest time. So, please join us in welcoming Dr. Cicely Roach to the Hub. Good evening, Dr. Cicely. How you doing out there?
Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me this moment. Thank you so much. Welcome to everybody. I'm doing well. I'm doing great.
Well, welcome to the show. So, first off, let's hit it off well. Just tell us a little bit about yourself on tonight.
Okay, so Dr. Cecily Roach, but I go by China. It's what I've gone by all my life. So those that are watching that know me as China. So I'm very comfortable with going by China. I'm an educator right now. I'm here in the state of Florida. I work in a middle school. I love all things sports. I love God. I love family. And I'm just grateful to be here.
Oh man, we're so happy to have you. So you love all things sports. So what's your favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team. Well, family. We're from DC, so Washington Redskins, as I know
Okay.
them. But Commanders now is my favorite sports team for football. I'm a Roll Tide fan for college football.
All right.
For women's
What time?
basketball, I'm gonna go Washington Mystics for the home team, but
Okay.
I'm also an Aces fan and an Angel Reese fan.
Okay.
Yeah, so for NBA, I'm a LeBron James fan. I'm not really a team fan, but I'm a fan of LeBron. Yeah,
We
so
can't hate on LeBron. He's got what scored 50,000 points, right?
exactly. We have to respect him.
I
So
gotta respect them. All right,
yes,
let's jump right on in tonight. We're so
yes,
glad that you're here. Those that are online, would you like, share, and tag and tell them to join us on tonight? So as we jump right on tonight, Dr. Cicely, or as she says, China, I'll be calling her China tonight, so that's what she wants to go by. She's going to share with her breast cancer diagnosis story, and she's also going to share with us how did she receive her initial news and her initial reaction to getting diagnosed with breast cancer.
yes. So, whew, that story. So my journey with breast cancer began January of 2024. I had just come back from a flag football tournament. I do play sports still. So I play flag football, and I had just come back from a national tournament with my team and with my sisters. We had a great weekend. And it was about a week later. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm just, relaxing, watching TV. And I at that time I was doing self-checks, just to always be up to date. And so I did a self-check just randomly. And I felt something and I was like, I know my body pretty well. I don't usually feel things like that. And so I felt it, I questioned it. I was like, yeah, okay. And it did not go away. And
Mhm.
so um, usually I'm not a run to the doctor type of person.
Okay.
And I say that and I mean that. I have a broken finger now that I've had for years from football, but I'm not a go to the doctor type of person. But for some reason, God had given me such a peace about like just going to the doctor for this. And so I'm like, okay, I was already, this had been also in between speaking to my doctor about some other health issues. And so I went back to her during a follow-up appointment, and she checked it, and she was, and so she was, saying, oh, I can feel it, but it doesn't really feel like anything, but I don't want to tell you it's nothing. Still, be cautious. So I'm going to, write you the prescription to get your ultrasound and your mammogram. And so that took a bit. I found it in January. That follow-up appointment wasn't until February, where she, said, okay, let's go get imaging to see, what it could be. That follow-up appointment was not until towards the end of February, going into March. So then I had my follow-up appointment. And all this time I'm like talking to God. And then around this time, I'm, praying about it. I'm like, okay, this could be nothing. Everybody's telling me like, oh girl, it's nothing, they come back benign all the time. It's nothing, it's nothing. So I'm like, it's nothing, we cool. It couldn't be me possibly, that this happens to, like, not me. We cool. I was just playing football, doing my best, athlete. I'm gonna be good. So I, for some reason, I am like around this time after the imaging, I reach out to Pastor Lisa and I'm just talking to her. And I'm telling her, different things. I'm telling her where I am. I'm telling her about this and this situation. It's how I reconnected. I grew up with Pastor Lisa. She Aunt Lisa growing up, but I respect her position. I grew up with her. And so I'm telling her, and she shared the testimony with me, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, God, you get me out of this. Lord, I promise I'm gonna do right. Like, Lord, you get me out of this, God. And so, I'm thinking I'm gonna go into the imaging and all is gonna be well. So they say, they see something, they can't really say what it is. So I'll need a biopsy. So again, with the biopsy, everything's gonna come back. It's fine. I'm talking to various people, my mom, everybody, it's going to be fine. It's nothing. I go into the biopsy, and it's the big cancer center down here in Miami. And I go in there and I'm looking around. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just seeing the effects of cancer, seeing people that, are currently going through that experience. And I'm like, God, please, just God, please get me out of, like, God, please heal. Like, please don't let this be so. And I go in there, and one of the ladies who's one of the techs in there, she's like, most of them come back benign. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, it should come back benign. You're okay. And so, that's in March. I get my diagnosis April 1st. And so what happened is I was at work. I'm like, okay, it's been a little bit. They haven't called me. And so everybody says no news is good news. So I'm at work, no news is good news. All right. And so I get a call in the doctor's office. She calls me, the receptionist, and she's like, hey, this is Dr. So-and-so's office. She would like you to come in to discuss your results. Me, I don't like the doctor. So I'm like, can you just tell me right now? No, ma'am, you need to come in. Oh, wait a minute, ma'am. Can you just tell me right now? So I'm like really getting this lady, like, tell me, which looking back, like, that's not wisdom. Don't, that wasn't wisdom. That was me in a panic, me, wanting to know right then, like, that wasn't going to help me. I'm at work, I'm in front of, children and, my coworkers. And so, I'm crying, I'm already falling out, like, Lord, you gonna tell me? And so my coworkers is like, no, that's just standard. They have to call you in when it's something like this. So I pull myself together. We get to the doctor's office, and we're sitting down. She's talking, and she uses the term invasive ductal carcinoma. I'm not familiar. So I'm looking, I'm like, what's that? In layman's terms, cancer. And from there, you asked about my reaction. I felt like everything, like when people talk about like everything just really felt like it just got quiet and closed in. I really felt that. I did my best in those moments to hold it together, but she had to continue to read like the grade and what it was. And so when she read it, she was telling me it was invasive ductal carcinoma. She was giving me the size of it. And one thing that happened was she misread the grade for the stage. And so she gave me stage 3 cancer. So when she said stage 3, I lost it. I did not, I'm letting everybody know, I did not hold that news well. I remember going out of the doctor's office and I'm like just yelling. I'm on the phone now. I'm running down the hallway. I'm, getting hot. So I'm going outside. I'm unbuttoning my shirt, not undressing. I'm just unbuttoning. I had a polo on and I unbuttoned my polo. Like, I can't breathe. I'm crying. And then in that moment, I'm looking at stuff online and it's making me, now I'm outside in the parking lot. Doctor was not finished talking.
Oh, so you just left the room.
Finished listening. The doctor was still talking and she talked. I had to go. I couldn't hear much else. I had to go. She was talking to the rest of my family. I had to go. I was outside and I am running around in the parking lot, crying. Like running, I'm crying in the parking lot. I'm running. And I honestly, looking back, I that was a very hard thing for me to hear. Because months prior, I felt fine. I felt in my body, I felt okay. The lump happened randomly because a few months prior, like I said, I had been doing self-checks. So like a few months prior, there was nothing. Then all of a sudden, there's just one night it appears. And I'm being told stage 3 on top of that. So my cancer story and how I reacted, it was very much so. And people, when I told people, when I had to tell my job because, they were asking, and it was April 1st. So people, April Fool's Day. And so they thought I was joking.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this would not be the thing that I joke about, even though I would want this to be a joke. It's not what it's not what I would joke about. And so that was a very hard day. I cried. So I was in the parking lot crying. And then I just remembered, for some reason, I just remembered the story of Job. And I had to stop crying in a moment and say, I won't curse God. I won't be mad at God. I won't, like, I had to get myself together in that moment. And I remember my mom calling me because she lives in another state. And she was saying, my mom immediately went to God. Immediately. And I'm so thankful for that. Immediately went to God of, it's not unto death. Like and the whole time, like she had peace the whole time. And then we got here and I'm like, wait a minute, you said we was gonna be fine, girl. What's going on? What's going on, girl? But she's still interceded. And so that was the day I found out, and it was hard. It was hard for me to sleep. It was hard for me to really grasp it. I felt like that day, I felt like my breathing had changed.
Wow. Okay.
Like I really did. I felt like my breathing had changed and it was very hard. Like I couldn't eat. Like before, we're going to the appointment and we're like, okay, we're going to be good. We're going to get this news. It's nothing. We're going to get us some tacos after this. Like we're going to be fine.
You in Miami, you're going to get some good tacos, I guess.
We're coming out of here with the victory. We good. We're going to have a good time. And then we get this news and like everything changed. Ain't nothing funny no more. We're not going to get no tacos. Like we going right home. It was a very tough day, very tough day, very unexpected. It was not something that, I really expected, even though I want to say I knew because like I said, I know my body. I've never had like dense breast, yes, but never like an actual lump that was so present. I knew like this is not right and it should not be here.
Now you did mention, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you did mention you were doing the Self-checks. Did something prompt you to start doing self-checks, or was that something you were taught, or, like, did your doctor tell you, like, you need to be doing this, or is it in your, in the family, you should be doing this?
So, so self-checks came about, one, because my doctor was just saying, like, you can always self-check, but my family, so the family, the family testimony alone about cancer, people would not believe.
Wow.
Beginning in 2019, 2018, my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. And then the year after, maybe 8 months to a year after, my grandmother was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer.
Mm.
And then my father was diagnosed with cancer at the end of that year. My uncle also had cancer, and aunt. So I had like family members that had it. And so, and I had seen it, and I just wanted to, just be on top of my health. And so,
Preventive.
right,
Yeah.
right. And so I was checking myself at that time, just not thinking that it would come, anything would come about it. I just wanted to, for my own mental, like, okay, I'm checking myself, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing on top of going to my doctor. And so that's how I ended up just doing a self-check that one day and found it.
Wow. And how old were you when you discovered, I know you said you'd had the stage 3, but how old were you when you discovered the lump and then became diagnosed?
35.
Okay.
35. So yes, I turned 36 in this past September. So I was 35. This was last year that happened. So fairly young for people. I'm not going to say fairly young, but also at a time where we're not expected to be getting like mammograms at this time. And so the early detection really relies on us to do our self checks and stay on top and to advocate for ourselves at this age. So that's how.
And I definitely like what you said. You are just definitely aware of your family history and doing the self checks, and so that really motivates you to go on and get it checked out and everything. So you're very conscious and aware, but you also did the preventive measure. I know the reaction of it, but basically, if you thought about, if I never would have did my self check, I wouldn't been able to find out, okay, this is what was going on, because it could have been there for a while. And like you said, you're fairly young at 35 years old. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I believe one thing that I believe, and I heard this and I believe it. God revealed it so that he could heal it. And so I was able to find it. And so I talked about how she gave me stage 3. So fast forward, she gives us information to, start going to the doctors and start seeing. God is such a gracious and merciful God.
Yes.
And he really performs miracles. So I go to my first doctor. So there's a list of doctors. When you begin your journey of who you're going to go with for your oncology team, you interview who you're going to go with. And so that's where I have begun my interview process. And my first doctor is where I learned more about really my diagnosis. And she shared with me, I actually was not stage 3. It was a grade 3 because with triple negative, one of the things with triple negative is my cancer did not respond to the estrogen and estrone, pro receptors. And so that's hormones and all that. My type of cancer did not respond to those receptors and hormones. And so that's why I'm triple negative.
Okay.
I was triple negative. And so
I like that language. It was.
Yes,
It was.
yes, ma'am.
Past tense, right?
I was, yes, past tense. I was triple negative. And so she was explaining that to me in the what my doctor that gave me the diagnosis was reading was the grade, and that meant that it was aggressive. It was now going into more of the tissue within my breast. It was now, kind of spreading just within my breast itself. And so the stage I was at was actually stage 1, close to stage 2.
Okay. Okay.
So that in itself, and when we were talking, she was like, "You're in a good place. This is an excellent prognosis." And when I heard stage 1, possibly stage 2, I just had to jump up and just tell God, thank you, because
Amen. Amen.
it's a totally different, it's a totally different approach when you're looking at stages. And so she shared that with me. And so I actually, when it was said and done, the thing that I'm so grateful for was the cancer did not spread anywhere in my body.
Okay.
It did not spread into my lymph nodes. And so people were asking me, like, how are you stage 3? Did they check your lymph nodes? And I was like, no, they didn't check my lymph nodes, but, she said stage 3. And everybody was just looking at me like, okay. And so I'm not knowing. So
especially if you're not aware, or this is your first time. So you're like,
right.
I'm just going to believe what they tell me because this is all I
Right.
know. Yeah.
Right. And that's how sometimes we can, be misinformed, and we can act on that misinformation. And because, stage 3 was the cancer was, oh, okay. And then it was stage 3, which heightened my fear of like, oh my gosh, like now we're at the later stages. But it happened to actually be stage 2 because of the size. I was right above the cutoff for stage 1.
Okay.
So it was a little bit larger than stage 1, which they had to, clarify for stage 2. And they saw that through the MRI, the imaging of the breast. And so that's how I actually received my official diagnosis. Once I did talk to, more doctors, and I identified my oncology team.
Okay.
So we got more imaging, and I went through a full body scan. And found out it did not spread anywhere in my body. It was not in my lymph nodes. It did not go anywhere. And so God really just worked, like he really just, shielded me, protected me, worked it out for me, to be able to say that, because stage 3 means that it had started to spread elsewhere.
Where in different parts of the body.
Right. It started to spread elsewhere in the body. And that's harder to treat. And also with triple negative, the only treatment option is chemotherapy. It does not respond to other hormone treatments. It only responds to chemotherapy. And so, it was like, okay,
and chemo can be very aggressive to the body as well. Yeah.
Yes. So chemo for me, chemo was very aggressive to the body.
Okay. Yes. And I want to talk about this too. I know, and I know you credit, God being there with you, but I do know there were some, significant challenges you had, and there were some good days as well. So can you tell us like the various days in which you kind of experienced some of the challenges you faced, but also some of the good days you would have?
Yes. So in the beginning of chemo, when you first start chemo, you don't really feel it. So I had recently, April 30th, I began chemo. I walked across the stage for my doctorate May 5th. So like right after, thank you, right after chemo, I was outside all day, 2 day, it was a 2-day graduation. And I was, walking the stage, getting my diploma, my degree. And you don't feel it as much in the beginning. You have some symptoms in the beginning, but it's also cumulative. So it accumulates in your body as well. And so I had to do 2 separate regimens. The first regimen was weekly for 12 weeks. So every Friday I was receiving chemo infusions. And so it takes a toll on your body. So I had, for most people that's seen the flyer of me for this event, I had long locks, took pride in my locks, love my locks. But I lost all of my hair, my eyebrows included. I lost all of my hair. So that was hard for me. A lot of fatigue, a lot of nauseousness and vomiting. One thing that they did educate me on is with the 12-week chemo infusions, you can get neuropathy. And that's the pain in the fingers and your feet and your toes. And so I would have to ice for an hour in chemo. Like while I'm being treated in that chemo, I'm literally icing, like freezing my fingers and my toes to stop the chances of like neuropathy, to really like minimize those chances. And so it was so uncomfortable in those infusions, and I had to do it for 12 weeks every Friday, and I did not look forward to it. I think very tired. So a lot of days I had to rest, and then so my second regimen, others call it the Red Devil, but I was talking to Pastor Lisa one time. She said, "I'm not gonna call it that. I'm gonna call it the Blue Angel or something." So, you know, we never called it that, but that's a more dense chemo. And I would take that one every 3 weeks for 4 infusions.
Okay.
So from April until July, I did the 12-week, the weekly infusion, and then from the end of July to the end of September, I did the Blue Angel. And
Blue Angel.
I did that one, and that one was very hard.
Okay.
I remember one day, just there would be times when I literally like could not get out of bed. I could not eat. There were days on end when I could not eat. And so we were trying, you know, to get me to eat. I could not eat. I felt like some days I couldn't even open my eyes.
Wow.
To get up, to say anything to anybody. And so it was really, really, really hard on the body for me. Now I know that's not everybody's story, but for me it was very hard of what I went through on the body. Probably the hardest thing that I'll ever have to experience. Chemo was definitely aggressive, and one thing my nurses said was that chemo has to be aggressive because cancer is aggressive.
Okay.
And so the only way to fight a monster is with a bigger monster.
All right. I like
So,
all of those. All of those. I love it.
And so it was very aggressive. It was very strong for me. And so it was a lot of changes that happened through that chemo.
And I know you're talking about the physical changes and how you felt, you know, not eating and drinking and not even having the energy to doing things. So it's just amazing that you could, you know, walk across the stage and receive your PhD at the age of 35. It's just amazing to hear. And I know we're talking about the physical, but I definitely want to talk about, I know there were probably some emotional and maybe some psychological struggles that you struggle with. And so I keep hearing you, you know, you always are referencing God. So having God in your life. So how did you overcome those emotional and kind of psychological battles? Even though I'm hearing these declarations that you're giving out, and I'm going to grasp all of those, but definitely tell us, how do you really overcome those emotional and psychological struggles you were having?
Honestly, it was God. I literally had to stay in prayer on my wall. So once this began, I had began going into scriptures and like pulling scriptures that were going to help me, pulling scriptures that I declare against the enemy. One of the things that when you face something like this, that is that can be daunting, that can be traumatic, the lies of the enemy try to creep in as well. And so I had to grab hold to what God said about this situation. And I had to every day fight it. So there was days when I was, you know, calling whom I could call, or, you know, not being by myself, or I'm walking outside just to, you know, fight back mentally, like I'm going to be okay. And part of it too was when everyone was going back to work, I was out of work. So I was home by myself a lot. And so it's very hard. You're by yourself. You're not feeling well to where you can get out and do things. And the enemy will start to lie to you about your situation and about, you know, what's happening. And so I had to really stay in prayer. I had to really lean on my support, my village. Everyone stepped in and did a wonderful job of just helping me and corralling with me. And then on the days when I could get up and do something, I needed to be outside. I needed to be in the sun. I needed to be doing something, even if it's getting fresh air for 20 minutes. Like I needed to do that, you know, to help me, to keep me moving, to keep me going. I also created small goals to look forward to, small events to look forward to. So like I said, I'm a sports fan. So like I was looking forward to, I would circle little events, like little games that I wanted to watch. And that was like a big thing for me. Like if I'm feeling
Wow,
good,
okay.
I'm gonna watch this game on Thursday. Like let's make it to Thursday so we could watch this game. And I may not even have made it through watching the whole game.
But
But
you made it to at least watch that game.
the point was making it to that day to
Amen.
watch it. And that was like the victory for me. Like I made it to Thursday. I could turn this game on. I could watch this game. Lord, thank you for allowing me to make it to, this day to see this game. And so I would create small little goals. Like we had them on the calendar, small goals to look forward to and to be excited about. And that helped tremendously because I remember, so when I first started my first chemo session, my nurse, he pulls out this great big needle and I broke down crying.
Oh Lord.
And he was like, oh, he didn't know I don't do well with needles. And this is my first session. And they have to put it on my port. And so one thing he said, he was like, I understand. He was like, but just little by little, little by little. And I needed that. Just take it little by
Little by
little.
little.
And so through this whole process, I had to take everything little by little. I couldn't try to look at all of it in one sitting, like in one day. I had to just little by little, moment by moment. And that's how I really, was able, and even now, still,
Still
it's
moment by
still
moment.
it's still an emotional thing to when I've gone through, and then there's still, things that I experience, still things that I follow up with. And so it's still little by little that we take it.
I love to hear that. I'm gonna call you China because I really want to
Yes,
call you
ma'am.
Coach. But I
Yes,
love to hear
ma'am.
that. What you're honestly saying is healing is so intentional. And I think
Yes,
a lot
ma'am.
of times when people are going through healing and sometimes in the body, we think about the physical, but really if we're intentional mentally, if we can be mentally strong through that, healing is very intentional. I want to ask you this question.
Right.
What advice would you give to others while going through this diagnosis? One of the viewers that may be going through, what advice would you give them to overcome? I know you got God and everything. What advice would you give to them?
So I we got God. So I don't know if I got to keep telling y'all because I really could not have made it
You
without
need
the
God,
Lord.
right?
You need God, but you could trust God and you could trust science.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do your research. One of the things that happened with me was everybody was like, girl, you got to cut out sugar. Girl, you got to cut out. And so for the first few weeks, I'm walking around a hungry vegan for a while, trying to cut everything out.
You're like, I need some chicken.
Right, I'm cutting everything out. I'm cutting everything out. And then once I talked to my oncologist team, they were like, hey, you don't have to get, too crazy on things, a well-balanced diet. So I would definitely say um, incorporate healthy practices
Okay.
in your diet, in your lifestyle. That's important. And then also do your research. If you are going through this, for me, like I said, I interviewed several oncology teams because I wanted the best fit for me. I wanted someone that was personable. I wanted someone that was approachable, someone that I could, really trust what they're saying because they trust what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That was important for me, that they had faith in their approach. They had faith, like, you're going to be fine. That was important. So, doing your research, making sure that you advocate for yourself. And for those that, even for my sisters that do not have this diagnosis, but you know that you may have density in your breast, like advocate for your mammograms, advocate for early screening. That is something that I'm very passionate about now because we shouldn't have to wait so long to make sure we're healthy and ensure that we have those practices accessible to us and available to us, so that we can live a long, healthy life. So, just doing our research and making sure we have a healthy diet. One thing about it is that, for me, I also was overweight, at the time so I want to make sure that I'm also taking care of my body.
That's good.
That would have helped even through chemo. And I'm not, shaming myself. I don't feel shame, but just knowing that having a a healthy, strong body, putting the right things in my body, really does matter.
Mhm.
When you talk about, what you're going to go through, what you may experience with chemo, and even minimizing the chances of breast cancer,
Cancer. I think
living a
that's
healthy
really
lifestyle.
I think it's really good that you put those pointers out there, because I think we like to eat all the good stuff, and the sugar, the candy, the fried foods. We love all those things, but as you get older, you really have to take care of your body and be aware of those things. We do have a question in the chat, so
Yes.
I'm gonna put it out there. Someone did ask, did you have a mastectomy?
No. So when I talk about God, I am serious about the many little miracles that he did. So
Come on,
I did
miracle.
not I did not have a mastectomy because my doctor, so when I went to my breast surgeon, I said, hey, listen, doctor, whatever you decide I need to do, because I trust you. I had such a good rapport with her. I really had faith in her. And we looked at it. The lump from its reaction to the chemo was very, very small. I did not also carry the gene for breast cancer. That's one of the things that they tested for early on, as we first began chemo. I didn't carry the gene. So
Okay.
that's a blessing in itself. That's another reason why people do get the mastectomy, because they have that gene. It was a very small lump, and it had not spread. So my doctor had faith that she could go in and take out that small amount that was there. She absolutely did go in and take out that small amount that was there. One thing that they said was, you want clear margins when you do have surgery. I was able to have clear margins, so there's no cancer in my body.
Amen.
So yes, I did not have to have a mastectomy. I did have a lumpectomy.
And I think the early detection that we've been talking about is so important. I think a lot of things you're saying, you caught it soon enough where they could go in, and then having a supportive team and someone that making you comfortable, because that gave you the courage to trust them with what they're saying, because they have the medical piece and you have God to put those two together to be on board. So I think that's so amazing. And so I know, like as we're talking, people like, don't eat sugar, don't do this. What
Right.
are some common misconceptions about breast cancer?
I think that's like that's a real thing. Like, a misconception is like, so I'm not going to say that sugar does not feed it. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But what I am saying is that everybody is unique in their
Okay.
case. Every case of breast cancer is unique. So for me, everybody, I completely understand. Everybody wants to see me healthy. They want to see me, not have to go through this. And so everybody's, cut out sugar, take this, take that. And for a minute, I was trying it. I honestly was. I was like, okay, I'm trying it. But then I had to remember, like, I started this journey in January. I did not receive my diagnosis until April.
Oh, wow.
From January to April, I was eating Popeyes, I was eating pizza, I was eating this. And I still, by the time they went to check it after April, it still had not spread anywhere.
Okay. So what took so long with the diagnosis from January to April? Was it that they had to do more testing and different things like that?
So the availability of appointments, that's another issue when you talk about accessibility, is the availability of appointments in healthcare. And so when I went for my follow-up was a couple of weeks. And then when it's like, okay, you need to do a ultrasound and a mammogram, that took a couple of weeks. So that took me into mid-February. And then the MRI took a couple of weeks, the biopsy took a few weeks, which took me into March. And then that, took me into April 1st. And so, it's really, really hard. Things are not a quick turnaround. Like you would hope when you're dealing with such an urgent matter, you would hope that there would be urgency and you can get these quick appointments. But it just did not happen like that.
Wow. I just
Yeah.
didn't realize it took that long, but I could see with all the
It
appointments, the testing, but the accessibility is really important, especially in the
Yes.
area that you live in, or if you have a large hospital or a smaller city that you live in. So I think that's a good awareness, making people aware. And so I just want you to share, if someone's on this journey, some words of encouragement and hope to them that may be on this similar journey with you.
one thing we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So God truly is a healer. God truly is a healer. We have to trust. We trust God. We trust Him at His word. He is sovereign. He will not fail. And also, when you have a team that you trust and that you know cares about you and your health, like you really can trust in that. Cancer is not a death sentence. I'm a living witness of it. I've had brain scans through this. I've had liver ultrasounds through this because they thought that they saw something, and it wasn't there. So every time that I've had to go in for a scan because they think my levels are elevated, it's come back negative. I've called Pastor Lisa multiple times. I'm getting a brain scan today, Pastor Lisa, because this is happening. It comes back negative. I got a liver ultrasound 2 weeks ago, came back negative. Everything is normal. So really, you can survive this. And not only just survive, we don't live this life just to survive it, but we want to thrive. We want to live in abundance. And you can have that after this. This is not the end. And when we have faith in God and we take Him at His word and we trust what He says about us, this is not the end.
And I like that you said it's not the end. So we definitely have a question in the chat right now, and they want to know, what are you excited about for the future, traveling, becoming an author, and resting? So let the people know.
Yes, I'm excited about all of those things. I am excited about being able to travel. You never really know the worth of something until it's either taken away or threatened to be taken away.
Wow.
And so being able to travel and see the world when you think like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get to that place that I wanted to go? And now that you're like, okay, you're in the clear. Yes, I'm going. I'm going. So I'm excited about traveling. I am
We
excited.
take those little things for granted, right?
We do. We take
Yeah.
those little things for granted, and people do not understand taking those little things for granted. And so when people ask me every day, no matter how I'm feeling in my body, I'm here. So I give God glory. So I am excited about traveling. I'm excited about pursuing my dreams. I would love to advance now that I have my degree. I would love to advance in my career in that sector. Definitely going to write the book. Write the
Come
book.
on, write the book, girl. Write the book.
This is the smallest piece of my testimony that I could share. And so being able to really, write the book for others and for them to be able to see, truly to hear my testimony and be an encouragement to them, and to know like, there's glory, there's life after this. Like this is not the end. And rest. Yes, I rest right now because I just finished radiation. I started it in December. I finished radiation in January. Thank you. I rest now as much as I can.
Okay.
Rest is important because my body really has gone through a lot these past 8 months, 9 months. It's gone through a lot. And so I do prioritize my rest. I was into coaching. So I coach flag football and I coach girls basketball. I do want to get back out there with my team. I know some of my sisters may be on here, my flag football sisters. I love them. I love everybody that's been in my life. I do want to play football again one day. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be playing because there's just so much that I want to get done. But just honestly, just everything that I've had to put on pause, pursuing it. I plan on taking guitar lessons. I plan on pursuing some personal goals. So I'm excited about what the future holds.
That's so amazing, China. Just we got another question here in the chat. What advice to family members supporting those who are going through treatment would you like to give?
Just show up if you can. Show up if you can. If you say you're going to show up, please do. And also educate yourself on cancer. Educate yourself on their treatment. Having empathy, having patience and understanding, all of those go a long way. I was very well taken care of. I'm forever indebted to be taken care of so well daily. And so just being able to really um, go through this with them,
Mhm.
and be that shoulder. There's going to be some days where they cry, and you may not know when it's coming, where it's coming from, but there's going to be some times where they are crying. There's going to be laughter in there as well. There's going to need to be some consoling in there. And if you're able to do so, please do that for them, please, because this is a challenge, not one that we can't win over, but it's still a challenge. And so having that village, having people that show up, having people that care, that can, pour into them during this time is really important.
Yeah, and definitely. And then, when we talk about show up, it looks different. So when you think about show up, I know some people like, phone calls, music. So what's some of the things that did you like that people did to show up for you and that support?
Um, Day to day, just even the day to day, I know, I had my day to day tasks that that I needed were taken care of for me. I can never, be grateful enough for that. The things that I needed that were taken care of for me, the phone calls, the messages, the I'll cover lunch today, all of those things that really mattered, like just even the small things, like you said, sometimes it's the smallest things. Hey, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
Those, hey, I'm doing a wellness check. Mother Bennett did a wellness check for me one day, and I was able to really just kind of tell her what was going on, and she talked to me and shared her testimony, and those things that encouraged my faith. So it really does matter, even if it's a, hey, how are you doing? But on the other end, if you are in the role of a caregiver, helping with those tasks, knowing about the treatment, knowing how to administer medication when necessary, when appointments are, being able to come to the appointments, if you can, those matter as well. That's equally as important.
Because you weren't able to drive, like after having the chemo and different things like that. You weren't able to drive yourself, so you need somebody to be there with you.
Right.
So that's good.
Right.
That people are aware of that, because I think a lot of times people don't really understand all that it takes to be a caregiver and to provide that support as well.
Right. Because for me, treatment, I had Benadryl before I even started to minimize any allergic reaction. But the Benadryl, I was asleep, for most of the infusions until it came time for icing. So I can't drive after that. So yes, if you are a caregiver and, they do know the medications that they're taking and their side effects, so that where you'll have to step in and assist at. So that's important as well.
Okay. And it's just amazing. The journey is amazing. So we have another question. What are
Okay.
you most proud of yourself going through this healing journey? What are you most proud of?
Not giving up.
Not giving up.
Not giving up.
Awesome.
I did not know how strong I was until I had to go through this. And there was only one other option: if you give up. And I didn't want that for myself. I'm not giving up. I want to live.
That's not the exception, right? Not giving up.
I can't give up. What I have to go through this. And so we're going to go through this, and God gave his promise. I have to stand on it. And I'm going to be kicking and screaming and crying, but I cannot give up.
That's good. I mean, that's great encouragement to keep going through. So if you're not going to give up, your next question is, so what does ministry look like for you in the future?
Ministry looks like completely yielded to the Lord. Wherever he said,
submission, right?
Listen, the safest place to be is in the will of God. And I told God, whatever you have for me, I give you my yes. And so wherever he takes me, I will go.
Amen. Amen. We're thankful for Dr. Cicely Roach on tonight. We are going to take a commercial break for a moment here and get our announcements. I'm going to bring her back in a few minutes, and she's going to share just her thoughts and any words of encouragement, uplifting, or any additional information she would like to share when she comes back to the screen. But just a couple announcements for you all. Please join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Jump Start at 7 a.m. and Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. right here on our House of God Worship Center page, where we won't stop praying, as well as join us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for our midweek impartation at 2510 Build America Drive, where we are on the series Discipleship. And House of God Worship Center family, we have made it easier for you to stay connected via text message. Text the word empowered to 757-500-0940 to connect with Bishop's Corner and to receive weekly updates. Text the word jumpstart to connect with the Jumpstart team. You'll be able to send prayer requests, get reminders, share Jumpstart with your family and friends, and so much more. That's the conclusion of your announcements. I'm going to bring back Dr. Cicely. She can share her uplifting journey with others and to empower them, or whatever lasting words that she would like to share. And as well, I was trying to get it out, but as well, where they can follow you as well as you continue on this journey of recovery.
Yes. So for those that have experienced or may experience, the best thing that I could give you is the Lord. I can give you that God is a healer, and he did it for me. So I trust and I know him to do it for you. I'm praying for each and every one of us on this line. May we live a long, healthy life. May no plague come near our dwelling. However, again, you can, if you are going through this, you can get through it. Let me be a testimony unto you that we are going to not only just survive, we will thrive through this. We shall live to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And so we don't give up, we don't give in, but we fight, we fight, we fight, and you will win. You can follow me on Facebook, Cecily Roach, that's my name on Facebook. I would love to follow you all back. I would love to stay connected. I pray that you all stay encouraged and just know that we win. So thank you.
Amen. I'm encouraged to keep going. I'm encouraged by your story. I'm definitely waiting to hear the book. Do you have a title for the book? Yeah.
Some things right now that I'm writing down. So when God gives it to me to release, I'll definitely be able to tell more.
All right. I'm ready for the book tour.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to be there. So we thank you tonight for joining us, Dr. Cicely. You all heard you can find her on Facebook. Get ready for the book. She's ready to travel, rest. Oh, I definitely was going to ask you, anything self-care that you did that you wanted to let the people know as well?
Anything self-care. One thing self-care that I really enjoy is massages. And so now I will actually be getting back into them. And it's important, especially for me, because I had a bone infusion. And so with breast cancer, after your treatment, they also give you a bone infusion because sometimes breast cancer will come back and also attack the bones. And so for me, massages will help with that recovery. So when my port is out, I'll be doing a lot of self-care with massages and, going back to getting my hands and feet done and just taking care of myself. And so that's important for me.
Oh,
First thing I got was my eyebrows waxed. I was really excited. So
what'd you say? Say that again?
Get my eyebrows waxed, and I was really excited. So
that's definitely a girl thing, right?
yes, my eyebrows grew back. Like they grew back. I lost eyebrows, I lost my hair. And so when they grew back and I was
it's so amazing the transformation that God is doing in you and
yes.
through you. So I just want to thank everybody that joined us on Facebook tonight for the Hub. We will be back the first Friday of each month. We want to say thank you to our sponsors, our House of God Worship Center leaders, our guests, and our viewers. We want to invite you all to come in person if you would like to meet us at 2510 Build America Drive. But meet us right here next month on the first Friday for our next Hub Talk Show. You all have an amazing night. It's been great being your host tonight. Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.